Welcome back to the Real Couchwives podcast, where we overanalyze all things Bravo.
The Southern Charm Season 9 finale had everything from love confessions to bro fights. Dare I say it was giving OG Southern Charm?
It definitely is. The boys are fighting.
And the girls are fighting.
Yeah,
Everyone is fighting. But before we break down the finale, we're actually going to break down the reunion, which just came out because this was not the reunion that we were expecting. There were so many revelations, and it actually got really deep and quite emotional. So we have to break that down first.
It did. This reunion was so good. Oh my god. I was actually kind of blown away. I feel like the last two episodes of Southern Charm have just been so like up here, like top tier television. We're just killing it in 2024.
I mean, yeah, we've said it before. It's been a good year for Bravo.
It has been a very good year for Bravo. 12 days in, 13 days in, but you know, so far so good.
Yeah, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City just like killed it right off the bat, beginning of January. Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about today.
For once.
So we start the reunion with like, you know, the classic Andy saying hi to everyone. JT is already like ready to fight Austen.
Oh yeah, he's like, here, let me at him.
Yeah, his fists are out. And like right off the bat, Shep like looks visibly distraught. Like I literally wrote a note that was like, Shep looks like he's fighting demons. Like he has had some sort of revelation that he's coming into this reunion with, and like you could tell he wants to get it off his chest. So we will talk about that, but the first thing that kind of comes out that was really surprising is when they were kind of talking about Craig and Paige's relationship not being scrutinized as much because the cameras aren't around them as much. And then Shep actually says that without the cameras, he thinks that Taylor and him would have been married.
I know. Isn't that so crazy? How must that feel for Taylor, especially after the episode that we just watched where she wants to get back together with him and like give it another go? It's just so interesting to think that he would now, you know, probably like a year and a half later be thinking that, maybe less than that, maybe a year later, they're like he's thinking that.
It's true. Or feeling but that also way. Like there's something not quite right about it for me, because just before that he had said that like one of the reasons he doesn't want to get married is because he equates it with like monotony and he thinks it's boring and he doesn't want to do the same thing every day. Yeah, that has nothing to do with the cameras. Like that's just his fundamental feelings towards marriage, which I think are really skewed and like pretty like not a full picture of what marriage is. It doesn't have to be monotonous, dude. But anyways, so that's a separate thing.
Yeah, that's just it. And I do think that he kind of like, he has a little bit of like that like demon or whatever within him where he kind of like, he feels like Taylor was like the perfect girl for him and like such a good match for him. But then he also like didn't want to be settled down, right? Like maybe he would be settled down. Maybe they would have gotten married, but also like he also doesn't really want to be married. Like it's just, it feels like such a contrast. And I think that those are like, those two things live and exist within him very much in the same way that like is what's going on with Austen too, right?
Yeah, no, but it's true, and like I don't think anyone questions that he loved her.
No,
like, and like if he was to marry anyone, like I truly do feel like it would have been Taylor, and I think he knows it would have been Taylor.
Yeah.
So I found that was just such like an unexpected thing for him to say, and also like kind of unfair to Taylor, right? Like I feel like up until now he has been pretty like cognizant of her feelings and like not wanting to give her the wrong impression, and he has kind of told her like, no, like we can't rebuild this, like we're not on the same page, like we don't want the same things, and like for him to then kind of say this, and then also later I think he said like I learned a lot of things and like we'll be having conversations, so like I like kind of scared for what's to come.
What does that mean? Yeah, well, and that's just it, like you know, and I obviously know that we're going to talk about this and I don't want to like jump around too much, but like with the conversation that they have at the end of the finale where he's like, no, I don't think that we should get back together. And like, it just felt like he had like so much clarity and like was like really like being quite an adult in that moment. And then to have this kind of like contrast that moment and him be like, yeah, maybe we would have been married. And that was the happiest time of my life was when I was with Taylor. And I guess I also wonder how much of that like feeling or sentiment is brought on by his experience at BravoCon and kind of the revelations that he's had since then as well.
Yeah, well, that's it. So then, you know, about halfway through this reunion, we see that Shep had actually approached Andy and said, you know, I have something I want to tell the group. And then Andy is like, okay, like Shep has something to say. And then Shep essentially says that he was really out of control, like blackout drunk at BravoCon, like I guess the entirety of it. And this must have been really substantial because like
Yeah.
Shep has had a lot of these moments, which actually the boys come in later and say like this isn't the
Mm-hmm.
first time this has happened, but like this has really made him take stock of his life. And then it kind of turns into a bit of an intervention, like where
Yeah.
the boys are all telling them like how his actions have made them feel, and it was just so surprising.
Yeah, it was really surprising, and I wrote down in my notes like as it was happening, I was like, "Is Shep about to tell us that he's been like I don't know, a couple months sober or something?" And obviously,
Mm,
that's kind of where I think like Madison or like Leva had kind of like been like, "Oh yeah, that's definitely where that was going." And he does kind of like admit like, I'm trying to like drink less. I'm not drinking hard spirits. I'm not taking shots. I'm trying to just drink beer, which I do think kind of is like a little bit of like what Craig did when
Craig.
he
Mm-hmm.
like went back on like tried to like reduce his drinking. So I don't think it's a bad strategy at all, and I know that Craig and Austen probably have their reasons for feeling like this is like, you've said this before. But yeah, I definitely felt like it was going to be like this like sober confession, and it wasn't quite that, but it's definitely still like a big moment, I think, for Shep. I don't want to take that
It
away.
definitely, yeah, I definitely think it was. And like honestly, I think the part that hit me the most, that just felt really like, oh wow, like this is real, this is raw, like these guys I'm going through it with him, is apparently Austen had been really helping him through BravoCon, like kind of look presentable. And Craig was like, like the road that you're on right now, it ends with a cliff, and like I can't be in the car anymore. And then
Yeah.
you see the way that Shep
Yeah.
took that in, and
Receives it.
it just like destroyed him, but he
Mm-hmm.
understood. And you were
Yeah.
just like, oh shit, like this is wow. I was really surprised that this all happened on the reunion.
I know, and that's just it. And like that was kind of the interesting thing about it too, is that like it was so unexpected, right? Like we had no idea that this was coming, obviously. And I think that like for the most part, people who were following social media that week or that weekend when BravoCon did take place, like we definitely heard rumors about this. There were some blind items, like different things, like different accounts, people talking about like running into him at like Mandalay Bay and him being like super like out of it. But at the same time, like to a certain degree, I think it like that's kind of the expected outcome of BravoCon, is that you're gonna like see these celebrities or these Bravo celebrities out in the wild, and you're gonna kind of like have these run-ins with them where they've been like drinking and partying. And I don't
Mm,
think any of us like took too much of it, other than we were just like, yeah, I guess that sounds like what Shep would be up to in Las Vegas on a weekend. Even though it is like
yeah,
working time and like technically you're there for a job, right? But
yeah, it didn't sound like to the extent that it's clear that it was. The other thing that was really surprising is just like you've never heard Shep talk about himself in this way. Like he always, like he does have a lot of pride, and I think he likes to think of himself in a certain way. And he literally was like, I need to make some changes. Like I started thinking like, who am I? Like what is my value? Like am I just like a worthless idiot? Like the music stopped and I just really had to like take stock of things. And you're like,
yeah.
you've never heard Shep talk this way. Like this is like serious. Like
Hmm.
I really think he's actually reached a changing point. And but you also understand his friends who are like, we've been here
Yeah.
before, so like if you're gonna do this, then like you need to stick to it and we'll help you. But like,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that does make me wonder too, right? Like so many kind of like, the first few seasons of Southern Charm, so many plot lines around Shep were kind of like his business ventures and different things that he was going out and doing. And yeah, like there was some, hijinks of like, trying to be a real estate agent with Cam and that kind of stuff. But, he was like buying properties up. He was like trying to like, flip them or do stuff with them, rental properties, whatnot. And then he also had like his businesses, right, that he'd opened in Charleston. So it does kind of make me wonder, like, are those still things that he's doing? Have we not seen those on the show because they don't exist anymore? Like, they're just kind of like things that I'm now wondering about, especially since he kind of like brought up, like, what's my purpose in life? Like, what am I doing? You guys have your pillow business and your podcast. Like, how do I fit
that's
into all of
true.
this? Yeah.
That's a good point. And you also know it must have been such a huge revelation for him because like I feel like he did always kind of like hold his money a little bit over the boys, or not hold his
Mm-hmm.
money over them, but like he would be
Yeah.
like, Craig, like, you don't have mailbox money, like, you have to work, like, you can't be like me, you know? And him and Whitney would be a little bit of like, ho ho.
Yeah, exactly. Look at us, we got it made in the shade.
Yeah, or like, what was it? Was it even this season where the four of them went out and like Whitney and Shep were like, we're gonna have our expensive bottle of wine and like you could have your like peasant bottle of wine, or maybe it was maybe it was something I was. Maybe it was a season I'm rewatching, so I'm also watching things at the same time.
I think it might be a season where we were rewatching, because I do think that I do remember that happening, but I don't think that was the season. I could be wrong. If people remember, put it in the comments. Let us know.
But yeah, so then the whole group's kind of like, I feel like you need to go cold turkey and you need to be sober. And he's like, I'm open to do that. Mm-hmm. So we'll see where this journey goes for Shep. But I do think it was a really big moment for him to like say those things and say it on camera, like knowing the type of like, you know, Southern gentleman type of a man I don't know if gentleman of a man is the right type of word, but you know, like those Southern like values that he has on how you should be portrayed, and like
well, that's just
it he's like this easy.
Yeah, he's like this person that's like very well read, like clearly, like he's always got these like books and people that he's quoting, and like it seems like very smart and intelligent and stuff. Part of me did kind of wonder a little bit, and maybe this is like always like the little like conspiracy theorist brain part of my brain that's happening. But because it did happen at BravoCon, part of me wondered if it was something that Bravo had requested, or potentially like, you know, like for like been like, hey, you should address this. Like, this is something, you know, because it's like, it was clearly public enough that like, it was crossing over into social media. Like, I do wonder if it was something and if it was happening kind of like on their watch. Like, I don't know.
That's a good point. Also, like, the rest of the cast didn't seem as shocked by this. Like, if anything, they were very much like, it was like an intervention. Like, they were ready to tell him how his actions affected them. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
Impossible to say. That's just it. We'll probably never know, right? But you know, that was just something that kind of like lingered in the back of my mind about that one.
No, it's fair. And then one of the other surprising, or like honestly not that surprising, things that happen is like we do kind of like turn our attention to Taylor, of course. So we get into like the Taylor, Austen, Shep, Olivia love square of it all, and I'm sure that's going to be like more of what next week is about. Leva actually explained it so well. She was like, Austen and Taylor, like, you guys keep focusing on like what you did in the moment, but then like what you don't realize is like, we're not as mad at that. We're mad that you lied to everyone's face continuously. And then Olivia chimes in too, and she's like, and then, you know, when Olivia didn't accept your apology, you basically turned it on her that like she's the villain, like why won't she forgive?
I know. I have to give Leva her flowers in that moment, because I did think that she like said it so succinctly, so perfectly. She really like, she just kind of like embodied like everything that we had been feeling this entire season, and she just like put it in like such a little digestible nugget. Like, it was so good. To hear it that way. And I do think that like Taylor and Austen are a little bit thick in the head, and unfortunately they were still kind of like, you know, defending themselves, and you're just like, guys, come on, like, now that you've even heard about it, like, you figured it out, you nothing, whatever.
Like watching it back, they haven't changed, like, really, like, you're still holding on to these same things. But then it leads to a moment where Taylor essentially like weaponizes information that Olivia had told her in confidence, like, during their friendship. I think that's the part that's so difficult too, though, is like, imagine like to start telling things that were told to you like in a friendship space now to like hurt that other person, or like to discredit them. But essentially what happened is Taylor says, you know, I would hope that you would forgive as you would want to be forgiven, which is like,
as you would want to be forgiven, and it was like, as you would want to be forgiven, as you would want to be forgiven.
Like, so clearly just like was trying to get something out. And then I do really like that Taylor was like, you've obviously been waiting to say it, like, just do Olivia. It, like, you're obviously like, that's, oh gosh, Olivia, I will never stop mislabeling them, honestly. To whoever made that meme or whoever put this on Instagram saying Olivia and Taylor Swift are this different names. Like,
Yeah. They
you
weren't
have
wrong, but
you
they've
have
totally
really
messed
messed
it
with my
up. They
brain.
totally messed it up. I'm sorry.
Anyways, yes. Oh my gosh, what was I saying?
Talking about how Olivia then responded to Taylor after she said that and was like, "Wow, I see
Yeah.
where you're going with this. You've been holding on to this. You've been waiting to plant this here."
Yeah, she's like, so just do it. And apparently there was a hookup between Olivia and Thomas Ravenel.
Mm-hmm.
And then Taylor says, yes, that she betrayed her confidant.
Yeah.
Um,
It felt like it was like just the wording, like the previous um hurt as you've been. What was the line?
Forgive as you would want to be
Yeah,
forgiven.
yeah, and then the confidant, like it just felt like such like weird kind of like language, like what we're like we're in a court of justice or something. Like I don't know, like it just felt like overly excessively kind of like
Yeah.
theatrical and weird. Like why are you speaking the way that you're speaking?
Well, because she thinks she's landing this like really crazy point. Like I feel like she
Right.
really thinks she was doing
Your
something there.
confidant. You've
Because
betrayed your confidant. Like,
then she's like, it's the same situation. Like Catherine is your friend, and you
yeah,
didn't tell her about this. And then it's like, oh, and then like a second later, you find out what happened. This was when she was
yeah.
20 years
Like,
old. This
like
was like
literally.
how many years before she even met Catherine?
Well, that's just it,
Like,
right? Like it sounded like it was at least 5 years ago.
wait, no, Olivia's not 25. She said it was when
But
she was 20.
was it when she
Anyway,
was
she was in
20?
her early
Yeah,
20s.
yeah, yeah. It was long enough ago that it was in between. Like it was after Saint was born, but like before now.
It's just like for her to say it's the same situation, like it's very much
Yeah.
not the same situation. Like I see what you're
No.
trying to do there. It is
Yeah.
it like if anything, this moment really showed, I think, Taylor's character and like
Mm-hmm.
how far she's willing to go. And this has been like this has been our critique of her the whole time. Like Taylor, it's not what you did; it's how you
No.
are acting every other opportunity later that you get to like make a different choice.
Yeah, I know. And I have to admit, like, I kept on holding out hope. You know, I'd seen the Watch What Happens Live appearance of Olivia on Watch What Happens Live, saying that like their friendship wasn't in a good place. And I was like, you know, there's always the reunion. All can be healed at the reunion. And then Taylor comes and like brings this thing out, and you're just like, Taylor, why would you do
She's
like
apologized 4 times, Iris.
no, so many times. I apologize so many times. I can't believe you guys are still hanging this over my head. I don't know what's wrong with you. You guys weren't even in a relationship. I
And it's
can't.
frustrating too because like you really like you don't like you want to be able to root for her. You're like I see that you're
Yeah.
really not in a good space right now. Like you feel for her. Like she is very lost.
I don't
But
even feel
like
for her anymore, I think, honestly.
but
Like, I'm
that's what I mean. Like at the
done.
big, but at
No
the
more
beginning,
feelings.
we were
Yes,
like, I
yeah.
feel, like maybe we should try to give her the
Yeah.
benefit, and now you're just like, I can't. Like every thing that you've done, like,
Yeah.
is just been like you below the belt or like trying to
Yeah.
discredit like Olivia or like just
Yeah.
doing things like this. It's just
Yeah.
like,
It just makes
oh
you look
dear.
so bad too. Like it just like did you think that she obviously like went into this reunion thinking I'm going to bring up the Thomas thing and then she's going to feel differently about what I did. And it's like did you really think that that was going to go well in your favor, that you were going to reveal this like secret that this your person that had been your friend, your best friend had given to
I think
you?
she did. I think she
And
thought.
it's
I don't think it was towards Olivia. I
I'm
think
going to be
maybe she was trying
redeemed.
to. I think she was trying to sway public opinion, but it just like
Yeah.
didn't work at all.
It completely failed. And it's like annoying too because like one of the previous conversations that they had during the reunion was the whole like Whitney like nude photo thing. Um and like the clear exchange that had happened, and I just like in that moment I had felt so bad for Taylor because I was like, oh, I hate that they're like airing all this like dirty laundry
Yes,
on TV and like going into all these details. And I don't want to say that there's like any kind of like tit for tat kind of like retribution, but like at the same time I'm just like, and then you do this, and then I'm like, how can I feel bad for you? I was just like,
no. I felt the same. So to go to that part, like there was a section of the reunion where they talked about the nude photo.
mhm.
And one thing I was really happy about is finally they were like, Andy was like, I thought it was really not cool that you were being like slut shamed like
Yeah,
about this photo, and Craig
yeah,
is like, why are we not talking about Whitney, who distributed the photo? Like, he is the
Yes.
bad guy. And you were like,
Yeah.
yes, Craig.
Yay, Craig, killing it.
Yeah, and you did kind
MVP.
of feel bad. Like,
Yeah.
you felt bad that she was being, like, kind of ganged up on. And, like, I even remember being like, this roller coaster of emotions. Like, how am I feeling? And then, yeah, just to go back to, you know, what she does to Olivia.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she's still gonna be saying the same things that she was saying, like, throughout the season. Like, I apologized, I did my part, like, this is on her, like, I want a forgiving friend and she's not a forgiving friend, and she's a bad friend, actually.
She's a bad friend. She's the problem. I don't know why anybody thinks that I'm the problem. She's the problem. Yeah, I'm very confused. I don't know. Like, obviously we have the rest of the reunion to get through, and you know, we'll see how that goes, and it makes me so curious about season 10.
Yeah,
I just don't see how she can be on it in any good capacity, but I guess we'll see.
No, it's probably going to be better for her.
Yeah.
She's brought so much of a storyline that I don't know, if she would, but
maybe it'll be like Naomi when Naomi got a boyfriend and she like became a friend of, right? Like, she had like, didn't really have like as much of a storyline.
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
I want Naomi back, though.
Yeah, I know, me too. Let's just bring Naomi back. Taylor can stay home for a year. You think about what you've done.
So yeah, that was the reunion, some revelations that we got. Let's backtrack a little bit to the finale.
Let's do it.
And okay, the thing I do want to start on in the finale is there's a couple scenes before. There's like a scene with Olivia and Leva, where, you know, Leva's kind of being like, Austen is not thinking about you in the state that you're in, and he's not being careful, like, with his words. And I was like, those are the moments that I'm like, yes, I appreciate what Leva is bringing. Like, that is good commentary.
Yes, yeah. She's a great friend of. She's definitely not a main cast member.
I was actually really shocked. Oh yeah, that was actually what I wanted to bring up too, is like, so with the reunion, we find out that Rod and Rodrigo, in fact, were not main cast members. I guess they were a friend of.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know if it's just weird because on Wikipedia they were listed as full-time, but like, who knows, maybe Wikipedia isn't a reliable source of information for this kind of stuff.
You don't say.
Maybe. Other facts and information maybe, but not this.
But they were framed in that way, like they had headshots and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, but Leva was a full-time cast member, which I don't really understand, because she wasn't even on the cast trip. And isn't that like, don't you like have to go to the cast trips to be a full-time cast?
On anything. I just like, even in that like little section where they were talking about the nude photo, or no, they were talking about the I guess they were talking about the nude photo, but they were like talking about like, because she talked about how her husband wouldn't want to receive those kinds of things either. And I was just like, how would we know? We've never met him. We don't know anything about your life. We don't even know that you're like, technically we don't even know that you have a husband. There's no information. We barely know that you have a child. Like, it's just so weird. There's no information about Leva in this world. Like, we just get some commentary about what she thinks about the rest of the cast. Like, just crazy.
Yeah. I feel like she's just there to like judge people.
Yeah, she's just there because Southern Hospitality has a spin-off, and so they need her there, like, to have a connection. Like, it's just,
she puts in like no work.
Just annoyed.
No, I get it. So there's that scene. Then there's a scene with Rod and JT. And it's just Reality Bites,
which was actually pretty enjoyable too. That was a fun one. I liked that.
It
like,
was.
Getting
a funny
ready
scene
for the outfit. They're like changing into the outfits.
Yeah, Rod giving JT like the worst advice. Like, yeah, I think you have a shot with Taylor. Like,
where are you really hitting it off? You guys are killing it. I see something happening here.
He's like, you need to move forward. Our place is on the show, so one of us has to be pursuing someone.
In Rod's defense, I do think that he gave some pretty good advice to JT here, because he was like, let her come to you. Like, don't go to her. Like, you guys can be at this party together. You can be commingling, but you don't need to, like, you know, be putting yourself out there. And then what did JT do? Not that. Not that at all. Not that at all.
Before we get into exactly the cringe moment
what he got into.
that led to, Reality Bites brought up something so funny and interesting, is that like the only scenes that Rod and JT are in are whether they're either talking to or about Olivia and Taylor, which Which is like, what is that scoring of movies of like when women are having conversations that don't have to do with like men?
Oh, the
There's
Bechdel
like,
test.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's basically like the
It's like
opposite of
the Rod
that.
and JT test.
Yeah.
Yeah, even like them like catching up after Bermuda, like having like the phone call and being like, yeah, look at how messy my house is. Like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, like we know
Glad we got
nothing
that on
about
camera.
that. We know literally nothing. And this is kind of like
Yeah.
one of the problems there is with this season, although it's been an
Mhm.
outstanding season.
Yeah, it really
There are
has.
so many cast members that they like, and like
Yeah.
and this one love square has taken up like kind of so much of the
Yeah.
drama that like literally everything else is just kind of like randomly splattered,
Hmm.
but like you're not actually getting anything. Like what other
No.
story is there?
No, that's a really good point. And you're not even really getting, because there's like so many cast members that they're kind of like trying to like fit in like scenes of in each episode. You're not really getting kind of like that like fun B-roll as much too, where you get to kind of like see them like in their houses and like, you know, Shep playing with Craig. Like we get those moments, but I don't know. I feel like we could get like we could have gotten a little bit more if we'd maybe like reduced the cast a little bit more. Obviously not
Mm-hmm.
Rodrigo, because Rodrigo we definitely could have gotten more scenes of.
I know.
Bring back more Rodrigo.
Bring back more Rodrigo. I also have really enjoyed Vanita this season. I think she finally
Yeah.
has like found her
Yeah.
footing with the group and like also brings really good commentary and like just feels like a really good friend. And I'm like, go Vanita.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely really like the vibe between like Madison, Vanita, and Olivia that we have kind of like set up
Mm-hmm.
here. So that also makes me like hopeful for next year too. It's good.
Yeah.
Need
No,
that.
for sure. So we have to get to the moment.
Yeah, let's do it.
JT goes and does a little bit of a love confession a la Landon
Yes.
from Southern Charm,
Yes.
you know, not decades, seasons before him with the maybe I love you, Shep.
Which was at least carried out in the privacy of her own home. This love confession between JT and Taylor was at Whitney's party in front of everybody. Not only cameras, but like half of Charleston. It looked like it was a big group. It wasn't just the cast.
Yeah,
So
he really saw that going differently in his head. Also,
yeah.
oh wait, actually, before I move on to that, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
So it's so funny that he does the same thing that Landon did in
Yeah.
Southern Hospitality.
Uh-huh.
JT actually goes to Republic,
Okay.
Leva's bar that it's
Mhm.
about,
Mhm.
with Landon on one of the episodes.
No way.
And do you know what they call her? Just
No.
JT's friend.
Ah.
Just JT's friend. And he's just JT. There is no mention of Southern Charm whatsoever. Vanita shows up once, Olivia shows up once, Taylor shows up once, and they just have their names.
Oh my god, put some respect on Landon's name. I am sorry. I am sorry. Like she contributed to the mess that was seasons 2 to 6 of Southern Charm. Like I think
she brought us dolphin voice.
She was here for the early years. I think she should get something more than just JT's friend on that. That is unacceptable.
I just thought that was so funny. But also just like, and I keep going, I don't know why I'm so passionate about this, but like it just makes me so mad that they don't just like try even like the slightest to mesh these two shows. Like at least be like JT from Southern Charm. Like they literally just like random person, or like sometimes Southern Hospitality people will be in Southern Charm and like it's just like their name. Like I just why are we not getting it? What's happening? Where is the disconnect?
I just don't get it. Because I think is like, you know, cross promotion I don't ever think is a bad thing. It's something that has clearly worked on multiple of these shows because Vanderpump Rules, Southern Summer House, Southern Charm, Winter House, Vanderpump Rules, I already said that one, but Beverly Hills, right? Like all of those have been connected and like done things together and like cross promoted, and it worked out so well. Like we watch all of those shows. Do they think that like the youths will watch Southern Hospitality and they won't go and watch Southern Charm? Like I just don't understand.
Yeah, it's just such a missed opportunity. So I just had to flag that because it makes me angry.
For? Who is this show for?
Honestly, still unclear.
I don't understand. I don't get it. I'm so confused. Anyway,
we're still not sure. Well, even like, and the biggest one being I forgot her name, but one of the girls from Southern Hospitality is the girl that Shep kissed while
Right?
blackout while he
Yes.
was still dating Taylor, and is the
Yes.
reason that they like almost broke up. Like, that is such a massive connection,
I
and
know
like
that would have
it
been
was
such a
revealed on like,
good. And Taylor could have had could have had a sit down with her, a la Sheena and Brandy. Like there could have been
yeah,
so many things that they did.
put us
It's
in,
just
coach, we're ready.
let's get in there. Come on. You're killing me. Or even like when okay, just a slight tangent. When Taylor did her Day Chaser event, it could have even happened this season. When Taylor did her Day Chaser event at Republic, they could have taken that moment to have that person, I also can't remember her name, Mia, maybe?
Yes, I
Yeah,
think
okay.
it's Mia.
Have her come up to Taylor and be like, "Hey, I'm so sorry," and like have them have like a little conversation. Anything, just a tiny. It doesn't even need to happen in Southern Hospitality. If it happens in Southern Charm, I would accept that. But like combine the worlds. Like, come on. Even at this episode at Whitney's party, there were people from Republic at the party,
Yeah.
and they like just did it. They're like, yeah,
But that's
they're
the thing that's
there.
so crazy. It's like at first I thought that they just like didn't mingle, but like they do. Like they're literally
Yeah.
intermingling now.
Yeah.
Why don't they capitalize on that? Anyways,
It doesn't make
sorry.
any
It's a
sense.
huge
No.
tangent.
Yeah, yeah. But a worthwhile tangent. It's a discussion that Bravo needs to have. They need to be addressing this. They need to they need to fix this up. Let's
Right?
fix this up.
And then
yeah.
if they do, we'll be like, Bravo's watching, clearly.
Yeah, exactly. No, we know.
Anyways, back to JT.
Yeah.
So he is like, you're my best friend. Like every time we're together, we just laugh. And then she's like, yeah, we laugh. We have a good friendship. She's like, she sees this coming.
Yeah,
She's
she
like,
knows
abort,
100% what
abort.
this
Like,
is. She's like, oh
we
God,
need to
get me out of
go
this
somewhere else.
conversation. Yeah.
And then he's like, I love you. Like, I would marry you tomorrow. And you could tell she's like, oh, God, no. Please stop.
Yeah. Oops.
Cringe.
JT. And he does it while he's like dressed in this silly little outfit with his hair styled in this silly little Justin Bieber swipe style. Like
Yeah.
it's so unfortunate. Like, I will give him that he has some gumption. I will address the fact that he really put himself out there, and that's great. Not everybody does that. Not everybody can be vulnerable enough to do that, right? And I definitely don't think that for the most part, like Shep or Austen could do that. So, we'll give him that. Was it a painful scene to watch nonetheless? 100% yes, especially because we knew that he had just been told by Rod to not do that, and he still did it anyways. And now we just have to live in that awkwardness. And like, thank God Shep came up and like came to get Taylor and like was like, hey, can we have a conversation over here? Because otherwise, like, I just don't know how do you get out of that conversation, right? How do you be like, no, thank you. I'm good. And then just have to like linger and be like, so what are you doing this weekend?
Yeah. It's true. It's true. And like, you know what? I have to give it to Taylor. Like, she obviously didn't want to hurt his feelings. And like, she let him down in like the nicest way that she could without really saying, I'm not into you. But, the message was that. Yes. And that sucks because he was her confidant. Like, he was like the only person she had in this group.
Literally, yeah.
To her own making. But still, like, you could tell she's like, oh, God. It was also pretty awkward, though, that it's like Shep of all people who come in. Because it's just like...
Yeah. And that's just it. Like, he comes and stands next to Taylor and they look like Barbie and Ken, right? Like, it's rough. And like, poor JT, like he's, what would it be? Vertically challenged. Like, he's not, and like, it's just weird. Cause like, I don't really think in my day-to-day life that like, height matters that much, but clearly on this TV show, it matters a lot, especially in the interactions between JT and Austen, which obviously we'll get to later.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's wild.
It is. And then we get like just really like beautiful editing where they're juxtaposing like a conversation between Olivia and Austen and Taylor and Shep, and we kind of go back and forth between their conversations. And actually speaking on someone who like was told not to do something and continued to do it, I'm going to start with Austen in his conversation with Olivia. Yeah. Where Austen goes into this conversation, expecting an apology. He
I
thought
know.
that Olivia was going to be like, you know what, I'm so sorry. I have been playing you like hot and cold, and like I am out of control of my emotions, and like I apologize. Never mind the fact that her brother has just died, and there is a clear reason
Yeah.
why maybe her emotions are every. I was just like,
Yeah. All over the place.
what?
I know.
And then he has like shocked Pikachu face. Oh my
Yeah.
god, why is this conversation turning not the way I thought it would go?
Exactly. That's just it. It's just like, yeah, your brother just died. Somebody that you thought was your best friend, like, betrayed your confidence and has like totally like, made out with your boyfriend, downplaying your ex-boyfriend, downplaying your relationship with your ex-boyfriend, lied to you, like done all this stuff. And then your ex-boyfriend also has been doing all of those things, lying to you, downplaying what happened between them, not really being honest, kind of being vague, being shady, being weird, being nice to you when your brother passes away, but like still just like being like so all over the place as well. And then having both of
Yeah.
them also like simultaneously be mad at you because they think that you're the problem for having any kind of feeling or emotion about this. And then to have that conversation and be expected to apologize to him, like, oh,
It's just
Austen.
like,
Oh,
it's
Austen.
so bad. And even his sister
Oh,
been that, when he told her he
yeah.
was hoping she would get an apologize, she's like, I did not know this is what you were hoping for.
That sounds wrong. I know it. I loved that. I love Katie.
She's honestly the most redeeming
Incredible.
part about Austen is his family. Like,
Yeah,
we just
it
love
really
his
is.
family.
We really do. Her especially. Maybe she should get a part-time membership next year. Or castship,
Yeah.
not membership.
Yeah, I would love to see more of her.
That'd
But
be
yeah, it was just
fun.
like, it was crazy. But like, as Olivia has done this entire season, she has the comebacks. Like, she is phenomenal with her words. Like,
I
honestly,
know.
like, she gets all the awards. She's literally like,
Hmm.
sorry, I don't know if you noticed, I'm going through something and you're too much of like, what was it? It was like, if you could get your narcissistic head out of your own ass or something,
Yeah.
like realize that apologizing to your weird ass is not one of the things like on my to-do list. I butchered that. She did it way more
No,
like
but that was it. No, that's
punchy.
just it. That's just it. It was absolutely incredible. And like again, once very much a la Ariana, like the ability to kind of like think about these things like in the moment, and like the fact that she clearly like went into that conversation not knowing where it was going to go, kind of probably have
Mm-hmm.
like maybe a sense of where it was going to go, but like not that's what it would go to, or not that's the level that it would get to.
Yeah.
And she was still able to think about those things in the moment. Like, how does that happen? Like, I
I
need
could
somebody to teach
never.
me. Teach me those
I
abilities
know.
because I
I
cannot.
know. Especially like when I'm really angry or upset, like I just kind of
Mhm.
like black out or like
Yeah,
cry.
literally.
So like I just
Literally.
would not be able to do that. Like she is a
No.
badass and we bow
Incredible.
down to her.
Yeah, we really
Um
do.
yeah, so
So
that
good.
conversation does not go the way Austen thought it would. Shocking. It's more shocking how Austen thought it was gonna go.
I know. It really is more shocking that's how we thought it was going to go. Especially because he's
And
like been to therapy. Like,
well, that's it.
not that
Like
that makes you like
we
perfect, but.
we thought there was more self-awareness, and I'm sure we're gonna have a lot more to say about Austen,
Mm-hmm.
after the
Yeah.
like second part of the reunion. Obviously this is a little bit heavier on like Shep and Taylor
Mm-hmm.
and all of that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Shep and Taylor, we moved to their conversations that they're having.
Mm-hmm.
um what was the beginning of this? First off, Taylor's like, whatever happened between me and Austen, I don't regret.
Mm-hmm.
To which I was like, whatever happened? That's an interesting way to
It's a
phrase
new
this.
new version of the events. Okay, love it. Cool, 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 cool.
Like, and also just like, why are we just reinstating this?
Yeah.
And then we find out that like Taylor was actually only being cool with Shep in the hopes of getting back together. Which you're
Yeah.
like, you did all of this and you wanted to get back to like first, why would you want to get back together after like this is literally
Right?
after he said that he enjoys cheating on you. You
Yeah.
threw a drink on his face.
Yeah.
What part of this do you want to continue?
Well, and that's just it. Like, and it feels like she's kind of like maybe she's like gone through like whatever this amount of time has been, and like it's been so like tumultuous, it's been so awkward, it's been so complicated, she's had so many like thoughts and feelings and experienced so many different things, and it's been like so bad that like in this moment, she's finally at a place where she's like, I just want to go back to like what was good. And like the last good thing was kind of like us being in like a stable, committed, happy relationship. Like I want to go back to that. And I think that that's kind of like what she's experiencing. But I don't think that there was
Right.
like, I don't think that there was like any actual like real like I don't know, like it just feels like there's no way that she could actually really want to go back to being with Shep in this present moment. She wants to go back to being with Shep like when their relationship was still good,
Oh yeah, well
right?
totally. And then she even is like, well, I'm a hopeless romantic and that like that trumps everything. But it's like
Mhm.
at this point, like I like this isn't being a hopeless romantic. Like this is like I don't want to say I don't want to say pathetic because that's like really harsh, but like it's like girl, like you
Yeah.
should have more self-respect than this. Like this
Yeah.
like it's just that's not the fairy tale ending that you need,
Yeah.
Like you can pick yourself up in other ways.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, if you had been hoping all along that you guys were going to get back together, I think that there were a lot of other ways to kind of like play this. And this,
Sending nudes to his best friend, probably not the
yeah,
path.
spending the last like whatever, like 4 months, let's say, I don't actually know how many months it is over filming, 3 months maybe, like fighting with your best friend because you like hooked up with his best friend, like there's just a lot of like things there that like don't really make any sense as to why you would want to get back together with him, and it just feels
Yeah.
like this was like done wrongly.
It was just like a Hail Mary. I mean, and it's also just like the thing that does still make me feel bad
Hmm.
for Taylor is she just clearly has very low self-esteem right now. And
Yeah.
she's just kind of like tossing out anything to
Hmm.
get that back. But
Yeah.
then she goes ahead, like, like I feel like anytime I try to be like, well, let me just think about like try to put myself in her headspace or whatever, like she's
Hmm.
obviously going through it. Then she pulls a, well, what if I date Austen?
I
When
know.
Shep says we're done, and he says it really nicely. He's like, I
He
don't think what we
does.
have can be repaired. Like, I want
Yeah.
to be your friend, but like it's over in that way. And she's like,
Hmm.
well, what if I date Austen then?
Yeah. That's just it. And like the thing is, like I like even for me to be able to be like Shep was really mature in that moment, and I'm really like proud of like what he said and how he handled himself. And like I'm so surprised that like Taylor doesn't seem to have done any of that actual growing in
No,
like no like real self-reflection, like no like nothing has happened, and I keep on like kind of like anticipating that that's going to happen, and that it like doesn't happen, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so surprised that didn't happen. I don't know
I
why I'm
know
not surprised at
because
this point.
she's more still just like playing. She's really playing victim, is what she's doing. Like the
Yeah.
way that she tried to spin it on Olivia, I feel like that's when it was
Yeah.
like
Okay.
we okay, we're not coming out of this.
No. No, that's just it. Like at this point, I'm just like, okay, so yes, never mind. I take it all back. Like I
Yeah.
did, you do obviously feel bad for her when she like runs off to the bathroom and she like clearly like is like crying behind the toilet the door, and yeah, like it's obviously that's not fun. Everybody's experienced that where they've been the person running off and like hiding in the bathroom and crying because like the person that you like rejected you or whatever. But it's unfortunately just it's not to now have the reunion have just happened and like us to be kind of like looking back at last week now. I just don't feel that bad for Taylor anymore, and I just feel very confused.
Yeah. Very, very confused is a good way to put it. We'll see, I guess, what comes out at the reunion. Like,
Hmm.
this is the last ditch effort to see, like, if after seeing the season she has any different feelings.
Hmm.
From what we've seen, it doesn't really look like it's going to change, but
No,
who's to say?
who's to
And
say?
then we get to the final, big kind of
Yeah.
event, which so now we have a hurt JT who has just been rejected. Austin and an angry Austin who does
Then an
not
angry
understand
Austin didn't get his
why
apology.
he
Can't
did not get
believe
his
why.
apology. And
Impossible
then
to say.
yeah, and then actually like as he's leaving, Craig's like, "Oh, how was that?" And he's like, "I'm done with Olivia." And it's like,
How
what a
dare you?
man child.
How
Like
dare you, sir?
like you're really gonna flip it like that. Also, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, like the sun is like burning a hole
Oh.
like on my face. Like I
Oh
don't know if you can
no.
see
Oh,
it
I hate
here.
that. I'm so sorry.
It's so hot.
Oh
But
no.
anyways, um So we go to Whitney's like man cave bar, which
Yes.
is stunning.
Which I
May I
love.
say? Oh my
I
god,
love. I would like to move in there. Like I love that
it
that's like the
is.
cottage like on her property too. It's like I would love that would be my house. That would be my whole house.
It is so nice.
It's
Like
so
it's
cool. It's
just
very my
beautifully
vibe.
done.
Yeah. Even this whole party like was like very my vibe. When he said that that was the theme, I was like, sign me up. This is me. Put me in, coach. Put me in.
It was so fun. I loved
I
all of the outfits.
Yeah, I love Valley of the Dolls. It's my favorite.
I did not know what it was.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I would have
Yeah.
been like Austin, who was like, I will Google that.
Let's Google this. Let's figure it out. Sorry.
But this is the one part that I actually didn't write down. It happened so quickly.
It was
But
so
basically,
fast.
JT is like so angry. Also, like, I'm sorry. Yes, Austin deserves to, be dragged in certain ways. Like, he's definitely at fault.
Yeah.
But I just like, I don't need it from JT. Like, most of the time when JT is talking and dragging him, it's not genuine. Like, it's just because he hates him.
Yeah.
Because he wants to be with Taylor. And he's just so blinded by his love for Taylor that it's just like, dude, you're not the guy. Like, it doesn't have to be coming from you. And it's just like, at this point, reading as like, let it go. And even in his like talking head when he's like, I can't believe she doesn't want me. Like, I'm successful. Like, I'm a positive, good man. Like, oh, dude, like,
it's like such a classic nice guy like stance of like, I can't believe that she doesn't want to be with me and she wants to be with these jerks. These jerks that don't treat her well.
And like, what have we seen from you that you're like this amazing
exactly.
that
so
you
incredible. Yeah, exactly. And like, you could be like a fun person to hang out with and you might still not be like somebody that somebody wants to date. Like, those are two very different things. There's a lot more to a partner than just like being fun to hang out with.
Right? But like, and I don't, how even does this, I think it starts because JT is like kneeling on the chair. And then Austin's like, oh, we're finally at the same level, which already was like, oh, that was not a good choice.
No, you should not have gotten up on that chair, dude. I'm sorry. I hate to say it, but that was an awkward moment. That was like, ugh, but also very enjoyable to watch. So I am happy that you got up on that chair.
and then we kind of got Austin's like, I think I saw somewhere that they were like, it was Austin's villain moment or something, villain monologue when he's like, oh my god, I get it. He's jealous of me. I'm the guy who gets the girl. It's me. And you're like, oh dear.
I know. It was so good, honestly, because it's like Austin is like looking around that bar. He sees Taylor, he sees JT, he sees JT at his high level. JT once again is like going after him, and he's just like, oh my god. It's fine. It's like the moment in Clueless where Cher is like, oh my god, I love Josh. And that is Austin's moment. Oh my god, JT loves Taylor and is jealous of me.
Like, that's so fun. Did they not? But they already knew. I mean, like, I'm surprised that they only clocked this now.
He did, but I think that like there was just like something in that moment that was just like, oh, because I felt it too. I felt it too very much. I'm just like, yes, this is it. This is why JT from like the very first episode has been like badgering Austin, trying to figure out what's going on. And I don't think JT was like really like fully hiding it. Like, I think we all kind of like knew what his motivation was, but at the same time, like, it was so relentless. And like, it just had kind of like perfect moment, especially because JT had finally been like fully like closed down. Like, this is not happening. We are not getting together. Like, I think it's great that you think that we would be a good couple, but this is not going to be how this proceeds. And it's just like all hope is lost in that moment. And then it's just like, oh, okay, this is what
it did come together like really. Yeah, it did. It was the way that they zoomed onto different people too. It's like you see Taylor sad and then like, oh,
awkward and like, it was incredible. Like, it was another cinematic masterpiece. Another one in the books for Bravo.
Bravo. But
so embarrassing.
The other thing too, though, is like during JT's spiel about how Austin sucks and he hates him, but he's the worst. He's like, I didn't catch what it was, but basically he's like, he has to have all the shiny toys or shiny
Yeah.
things. And it's like, that's another
Once again.
reason why I'm like, dude, like,
Yeah.
you keep saying how great of a guy you are, but then like you've made so many analogies to women.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Shep has done this too.
Totally.
Being toys, being shiny things, being fish,
Yeah.
being like, you know, like,
yeah, not actual human beings that you get to like talk to and like understand and like grow to love and like all this stuff. We're not complex. We're just things that you can possess. Lovely.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And then at the end, you get Shep in his confessional being like, you know, Austen deserved it. And that actually annoyed me because it was like, Shep, like, you were a big part of this chaos. Like, you refusing to acknowledge.
Yeah, just to interject, so because this then leads to Austen and JT like fighting, right? Like JT like shoves Austen, and there's like some kind of like physical confrontation. That's what Shep is.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Saying,
thanks for filling in that blank.
Saying that Austen is deserving of. Sorry, my dog is now squeaking a toy.
I hear that.
You do hear that? Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We have coughs and we have dogs.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not perfect, unfortunately.
But yeah, it's true. So Austen and JT actually get into a bit of a physical altercation, which is kind of confusing on Bravo's rules about that, because like they're pretty strict in some instances and not on others.
Yeah, very strict in certain instances, and the less so in others. Very interesting. Yeah. Southern Charm, I think, like often gets a little bit of a free pass, specifically because it is also usually between men. But there's definitely different rules for different people. In the Bravo world.
And not that we think it should come to physical altercations, obviously.
No.
But this at least was just like some shoving.
Yes.
But actually Austen was like, dude, we've been doing the show for like 10 years and we've never had people actually put hands on each other. Like, what's wrong with you? And then you cut back to.
I don't know if I believe that. I feel like there were some
it's
like
true.
Physical
Thomas Ravenel.
Yeah, I feel like there were definitely things happening in those early seasons that were like at least borderline.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of revisionist history. But
yeah, maybe not in the really Austen years. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe not from Austen himself. But Shep just saying like, oh, Austen deserved it, like behind his confessional, like him not acknowledging the way he felt is what caused so much of this freaking chaos. And then for him just to stand back and let someone else essentially like fight his battle.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they're in love with his ex-girlfriend.
Which JT has done quite nicely for Shep, so I guess that was a good service on his part.
Yeah, it was just like, dude, like, you haven't been being a gentleman. You've been being kind of cowardly. Like,
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how it ends.
It was great. Honestly, it was good. 10 out of 10. Would recommend.
It was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed this season.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the second part of the reunion.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how it plays out. So let us know how you guys felt about the end of Southern Charm season 9. How you're feeling about the reunion. Obviously, some revelations that have come out there as well. And how you're feeling about next year as well, with all the good things that are hopefully to come for the Southern Charm kids.
Yes, can't wait.
Can't wait. So
see you next week.
Yeah.